person has been confirmed dead and 2 others injured, with vehicles and motorbikes reduced to ashes after a heavy gunfire exchange in the Mile 16 Bolifamba neighborhood in Boya, southwest region. The recent resignation of prominent ministers in Cameroon has intensified grievances with the ruling CPDM party. And in sport, the semi-final games between Tico United FC and Legend FA ended in a fiasco as the referee was beaten. These and more in this newscast. It's exactly 7 p.m. in Magba, a locality in the west region of Cameroon, and 7 p.m. here in the studio for Backward Television. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on the Primetime Newscast on your favorite channel. For presentation, my name is Nabe Naivona. Let's kickstart the news in the southwest region of Cameroon to revisit the shooting that occurred in Boya yesterday, the 30th of June 2025. According to reports, 1 person was killed, 2 others sustained severe injuries, and motorbikes and vehicles have been reduced to ashes. What exactly happened? Ngashi Sharon has the answer.
In 2017, about 2 people are reported to have been injured and 1 dead after heavy gunfire in the Mile 16 Bolifamba neighborhood of Boya on Monday evening. Reports also say 4 taxis and a motorcycle were also set ablaze during the shooting. The attack, which occurred during the regular Monday ghost town, traditionally enforced by the Ambazonia separatist fighters, caused panic in the area that has enjoyed relative peace for months. A resident said they heard intense gunfire around Mile 16 Mall, an area that has previously experienced similar unrest during the ongoing Anglophone crisis. This incident has brought back a sense of fear and panic on the inhabitants of the neighborhood of Mile 16 Bolifamba.
Ngashi Sharon reporting. And still in the southwest region, we now take you over to Limbe, the town of Friendship, where a fatal motor accident has occurred and claimed the lives of some 2 sisters and the bike rider. The accident occurred at Ngema in the early hours of Sunday, the 29th of June 2025. According to report, the accident involved a collision between the bike and a vehicle, and the 2 young siblings whose names we got as Free Mercy and Sandra died instantly. The bike rider on his part, who was initially in a critical condition, has been confirmed dead as it now. It should be noted this tragedy has left the population of Limbe in shock, with many calling on vigilance on the side of the population, especially when they are on the highway. May the souls of the departed rest in peace. And now in politics, ladies and gentlemen, the recent resignation of some prominent ministers in Cameroon, the likes of Issa Chiroma Bakari and Bello Buba Maigari, has sparked dissatisfaction with the ruling CPDM party. Let's get details in this report compiled by staff lady Meniam Sibel.
Issa Chiroma Bakari, the former Employment, Communication and Transport Minister, openly criticized President Paul Biya's leadership in an interview following his resignation. He described the president as weak and docile, claiming that he is no longer in control of state affairs. This sentiment echoes Kamto's concerns regarding the regime's failure to effectively address pressing issues such as security, infrastructure, education, and healthcare in the northern regions. Bello Buba Magari, who resigned from his position as Minister of Tourism and Leisure, added to the growing discontent. His departure, along with that of Nana Abubakar, Minister Delegate at the Ministry of Environment, reflects a broader dissatisfaction within the government, particularly among leaders from the northern regions. These resignations have sparked discussions about potential shifts in political allegiances and the possibility of increased support for Kanto's vision for change. As the northern regions become more vocal and organized in their demands for better governance, they could play a pivotal role in the upcoming 2025 presidential election. With the current political climate shifting, the Grand North is emerging as a significant player, potentially surprising many in the electoral landscape this October.
And away from politics, let's talk criminality as we take you over to Yaoundé, the central region of Cameroon, where 175 persons accused of different crimes have been arrested with different drugs and, of course, motorbikes confiscated by elements of the National Gendarmerie. This is thanks to the operation that was carried out recently by the security forces. Details in this report.
Elements of the Central Gendarmerie Legion in Yaoundé have carried out an area control operation recently following a tip-off about criminal activities in the capital city. According to a statement from the National Gendarmerie, some 175 persons suspected of various offenses were arrested, 650 tablets, 4 boxes of tramadol, 588 Tyvins, and a large quantity of Indian hemp with 31 smoking machines were confiscated during the operation. More so, 16 syringes, 4 scissors, and 4 plastic bags of illicit drugs, 14 daggers, and a chainsaw, a television screen, 3 mattresses, and a sewing machine were seized, all believed to be associated with drug production and distribution. Another shocking discovery were sliced pieces of 10,000 CFA francs banknotes and a warehouse for storing stolen motorcycles with 61 motorcycles recovered from there. In the meantime, the National Gendarmerie says the suspects have been taken to the Lonkak Gendarmerie Brigade for questioning, while the seized items have been deposited there for the real owners to come for identification and collection. The population on their part have been urged to take safety precautions and report any criminal activity to authorities that be, while hoping that security and stability be restored in the city.
Away from criminality, let's talk religion, as the executive president of the Cameroon Baptist Convention has welcomed back into the CBC board the Salvation Baptist Church Obili in Yaoundé. That's some few years after the congregation backed out of the Cameroon Baptist Convention. Ngashi Sharon with details.
The executive president of the CBC, Reverend Dr. Teke John, has welcomed Salvation Baptist Church, Obili in Yaoundé, back to the CBC after the congregation broke off from the CBC a few years ago. He granted Salvation Baptist the full right, privileges and obligations of a CBC congregation once again. During the visit, the CBC chief executive also visited CBC hospitals and other churches and announces that plans were almost complete for the establishment of a Baptist university in Cameroon. Adding that at the oldest denomination in Cameroon, it was time the CBC had a university as well as a reference hospital for children. The CBC Pediatric Reference Hospital is also on the way in Mutengene, Southwest region. Starting with a visit to Voodoo, he later went to Etukebe, Ekunu, and Kwabang, and finally at the CPC Resource Center at Mvan, where he met with CBC staff, listened to their challenges, and will seek to address them accordingly.
And if you are just joining us, you are onto the primetime newscast on Abakwa Television this first day of July 2025. And in news out of the country, let's make our first stop in India, where Cameroonian refugees and asylum seekers have joined their peers of other nationalities in India to protest the country's deportation program. They conversed on the UNHCR office on Monday, the 30th of June 2025, appealing on United Nations officials to intervene. It should be noted that India is currently deporting refugees with or without a UNHCR card. And now let's take a look at the scene at the space during the protest.
Last year. Thank you. You want enter now? Enter more. When you spray the kids, you cut them for a hand.
Mentioned it wasn't just Cameroonians, ladies and gentlemen. We also had people from other nationalities. Let's get details.
We are here at the UN embassy. It's not going with all the countries. It's not going today. Wow. Hey, we're there on our back. Power, power, power. It's not easy. We say no, like Cameroonians then. Yes. No, they can't have peace now. They're doing but silent. No, they can't afford.
And that's how we had it in India yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. And now we take you over to Kenya, where Supreme Court has ruled that child born out of wedlock to Muslim fathers can inherit their father's estate. The unanimous decision is a landmark ruling that contradicts Islamic laws with the country's constitution. However, the court clarified that this exception must be interpreted narrowly from constitutional guarantees such as equality under Article 27 and must be justified, necessary, and proportionate. In its verdict, the court found that excluding such children purely based on their birth status is discriminatory and unjustifiable under Kenya's constitutional framework. It should be noted that the ruling marks a significant shift in how the balance between constitutional supremacy and religious freedom is interpreted in Kenya, and the debate is only just beginning. Games between Tico United FC and Legend FA ended in a fiasco as the referee was beaten. What exactly happened? Let's get details in this report.
The coach and players of Tico United Football Club in tears after their second leg semi-final game against Legend Football Academy of Kumba ended in fiasco over the weekend in Limbe. The Samba boys were hoping to reach the final, but their hopes now lies in the balance. Going into the game with a 2-0 advantage, referee Ndanga Mundi awarded a controversial penalty to Legend FA barely 4 minutes into the first half. At the 16 minutes of play, another controversial penalty was awarded to Legend FA. At this juncture, tempers flared as the players of Tico United could no longer take it again. Violence broke out at the Limbe Omnisport Stadium, with referee Ndanga Mundi receiving a few punches before being rescued by the police. Tico United's quarter-final game against Boya City also ended prematurely when fans invaded the pitch, decrying poor officiating and beating the match officials. The game was abandoned and later reprogrammed without fans. Referee Ndanga Mundi has been at the center of several match-fixing scandals in the Cameroon Elite 1, Elite 2 and the Southwest Regional Football League. The recent scandal in Limbe over the weekend has been the same situation in games handled by Ndanga Mundi across the country. The quality of officiating in Cameroon football is questionable, with referees lacking integrity. In spite of these scandals, Fecafoot has not offered a word In the meantime, Fecafoot Southwest has not commented on the situation, but in a communique, VSD denounced the action of Tico United. The billion-dollar question is who is behind the refs' dirty job.
The Limbe-based Elite 2 football club Isosa, which was fined a sum of 1 million francs CFA by the Disciplinary Commission of the Cameroon Football Federation, Fecafoot.
The Homologation and Disciplinary Commission of the Cameroon Football Federation has imposed a controversial sanction on Limbe-based Elite 2 football club Isosa. The commission has fined the People's Royal Elephants to pay a sum of 1 million francs CFA following two separate incidents. According to the latest ruling from the SDC, Apijes Academy of Fo gains all 3 points in the match day 3 relegation playoffs which did not end. It should be recorded the game was prematurely called off after referee Bomba Martin had booted Isosa captain Jefta Are, who was protesting against a dubious penalty awarded by the referee. The player was later taken to the hospital for medical attention. In a shocking verdict, Isosa has to pay the fine of 500,000 francs CFA and 3 points deducted from them on the general classification table. What makes the SDC decision scandalous is the fact that the referee Bomba Martin, who sent the player to the hospital, has not received any sanction from the SDC. In a similar occurrence on match day 1 against Fuvu Club of Baham, Isosa will also pay a fine of 500,000 francs CFA, going by the SDC ruling. A statement published by Isosa has reassured the public that Jefta Are is responding to treatment. The club, however, regrets the fact that they have been subjected to questionable and unfair officiating since the second half of the season, extending into this playoff down stage.
Low, bring water. People down.
In the meantime, several media outlets in Cameroon have raised alarm on the quality of officiating in the Cameroon Professional Football League, with referees openly showing biased and unprofessional attitude. To make matters worse, referees with dubious match records have not been punished but have continuously been used in more matches.
And that sports report ends today's edition of the Primetime Newscast on Abakwa Television. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Contributions came in from Ngashi, Sharon, Minyam Sibyl, and the entire English news desk of Abakwa Television. The news was produced by David Baudrek with general supervision from the station's director, King Wills. For presentation, my name is Nabe Nai Vona. Do stay in the company of more programs on Abakwa Television. Good night.